Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has suffered another brain freeze where he was unable to answer reporters' questions. Donald Trump says if he gets back into the White House, he will have no choice but to pursue those that are pursuing him. And President Biden gives another $250 million of taxpayer money to Ukraine. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out, so thank you so much. I'd also like to thank today's video sponsor, Factor, and I'll tell you about their generous and delicious offer later in this video. The Biden administration has just taken steps to lock down financial and military support for Ukraine that future presidents wouldn't be able to undo easily. In fact, 18 other countries are now working in tandem with Ukraine to reach a similar long-term war agreement. When it comes to America, the Wall Street Journal has reported that this long-term commitment is important to Biden because it cuts off Russia's strategy of waiting him out for when he's not president. So this is really good for Ukraine. This is really great for the military-industrial complex. I don't know if this is great for the American people. Now, despite our own stockpiles being dangerously low, Biden has decided it's time to send another $250 million of money to Ukraine. Now, recently, Biden argued that he had to send cluster bombs to Ukraine because the United States was so low on ammunition and needed time to make more. At this rate, the U.S. is openly admitting that we are struggling to keep up with the Ukraine demand, and now Russia knows that. So maybe they don't have to wait out a sitting president. They just have to wait for the United States to run out of ammunition to defend herself. Now, again, $250 million going to Ukraine, $0 more going to the people in Hawaii. While Ukraine may be low on ammo, they appear to have unlimited amounts of drones to attack Russia with. As time goes on, it seems like Ukraine is increasing their attacks on Russia by the day. Video has surfaced online showing what appears to be Russian infrastructure on fire. In reference to this attack that happened this morning, it is currently being reported that 4 Russian military transport planes were exploded. This is the biggest single night attack on Russia since Putin commenced the special military operation. Now, speaking of war, Tucker Carlson has just interviewed Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on the topic. Orban claimed that Donald Trump is likely the only man who could end the war between Russia and Ukraine because he believes Moscow is never going to surrender. Now, back in 2022, Orban touched on this similar point, stating, "The United States has a president who is much weaker than his predecessor. Wars can be started by weak statesmen, but it takes strong ones to initiate peace processes and bring wars to an end." So he believes that Joe Biden wasn't strong enough to prevent the war, and he's not strong enough to end the war. But what do you think? I'd like you to list some names down below. Who do you think is strong enough to communicate with Vladimir Putin and bring these two countries to the peace table and get this thing over with? Let me know your thoughts down below. I really do want to hear from you. I want to thank today's video sponsor, Factor, and I'll tell you how to get 50% off your first box. For 3 years, I've told you about the amazing chef-created food from HelloFresh. Well, Factor is a part of the HelloFresh family, but the food is already prepared for you, which makes it easier. Factor is chef-created, never frozen food option that comes right to your front door. It's absolutely incredible, and each recipe has been reviewed by a dietitian. Now, my kids have gone back to school, and I found it harder to eat healthier and find time to actually prepare a meal. So having Factor ready to go in my fridge has been an absolute game changer. Factor makes life simpler. You simply select your weekly meals and they show up right at your doorstep. The toughest part is picking the meal you want to enjoy that day because each one looks and sounds so delicious. And the best part, the food is ready in 2 minutes. So it's an absolute game changer. Now, my brother-in-law has been bragging to me about Factor for several months, and after trying it, I totally get it. Ordering is a breeze and heating it up is easy. So if you want to spend less money by eating out less and going to the grocery store less, then check out Factor. And you can go over to factor75.com or click my link below and use code Stephen50 for 50% off your first box. That's right. Factor is going to give my YouTube community members 50% off their first Factor box by using code Stephen50. The food is amazing and I can't wait for you to try it. A new poll shows 60% of Americans believe President Joe Biden is using his office and power as president to indict his political opponent. Now, I'd be very interested to hear from you. Do you believe Joe Biden is playing a much larger role than what the White House is willing to admit? Or is he genuinely sitting back, allowing the Department of Justice to pursue charges in an unbiased way? Let me know your thoughts down below. Former President Donald Trump has just commented on what he would do if president, but not in regards to Ukraine. During an interview with conservative talk show host Glenn Beck, Trump was asked if he regretted not locking up Hillary Clinton and if he will actually follow through with locking up people like her in the future. Trump stated, "The answer is you have no choice because they're doing it to us." Now, new polling suggests that Trump's indictments have only boosted his popularity, so 2024 will most likely be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. But what do you think? If Trump was able to regain the White House, should he fire a bunch of people and legally pursue those that pursued him? Or should he let it go and move on for the benefit of the country? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has once again worried the nation after he froze in place after being asked questions by reporters. McConnell was asked if he would run for re-election in 2026, but before he could answer, his face and body appeared to freeze as he sat in silence for over 10 seconds. Eventually, staff stepped in to help the senator, and the question was never answered. After the video spread online, one commenter left a statement which read, "Watching from Europe, how on earth is this man still in office? It's painfully obvious that he is seriously unwell." So by being unable to answer the question on whether he will run for office, I think he's just answered the question on whether he's fit to run for office. It looks like Mitch McConnell should probably sit the next one out. Or even retire early. I mean, this dude is really old and sick. It's sad to watch. It almost is starting to look like elder abuse. They march him out, he's unable to speak, and then they march him back to his office where a doctor comes to visit. The pause on student loan repayment will end in early October, but Education Secretary Miguel Cardona vowed that the Biden administration will hold harmless those who struggle to make payments over the next 12 months. Cardona predicts that this decision could cause a boycott on payments, so he advised people to pay what they could. He stated, "The loans are still there and the repayment is still needed. We know many of our borrowers are going to struggle to make payments, but we want to make sure that we're not sending their names to credit agencies. So we're going to hold them harmless for a year as they're getting back up." Now, do you think that the government is to blame for people that won't be able to make repayments? I mean, imagine you were told you don't have to make mortgage or rent payments for 36 months. Then when it came time, you said, "Oh, wait a minute. I went ahead and started buying all these other things. I took on a new car payment, yada, yada, yada. Now I can't pay." Or do you think because of inflation and the rising cost of living that these people will struggle to repay their loans? Let me know your thoughts down below. I mean, this is none of my business. I'm just letting you know what the federal government is planning to do. As emergency workers push to restore Maui, Hawaii, a resident by the name of Dale has called President Joe Biden's recent visit a waste of time because it slowed down relief efforts. He stated, "That did hinder the effort because all the fire department and everybody had to back off and make room for him to walk through the area when our first priority is getting people out of there, dead or alive. Again, this tragedy is just horrific, and he will be sending $250 million to Ukraine and $700 per family to Maui. Now, speaking of disasters being handled correctly, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis is attempting to show the world he is a true leader by canceling campaigning events for president and staying in Florida to help combat the coming hurricane. People in place, such as Cedar Keys, were urged to evacuate due to life-threatening surges. The hurricane made landfall earlier today, which has already caused immense flooding in many areas and power outages. Thankfully, Ron DeSantis activated 5,500 members of the National Guard in preparation for the storm to help those that are struggling. Right now, close to 450,000 Americans across Florida and Georgia are without power. I pray that they'll be able to get this mess cleaned up quickly and get that power restored. I can't even imagine what these people in Florida are going through. The country of China has just mocked America for claiming that the Taliban is seemingly improving Afghanistan after America left. Chinese diplomat Zhou Haiban stated, "Since the establishment of the Afghan interim government, the Taliban, 2 years ago, it has been committed to promoting national peace, reconstruction, and independent development. Despite China's kind words back in 2021, a report was released which exposed China's true intentions, namely to partner with the Taliban in order to secure rare earth minerals that Afghanistan has in their possessions." So basically China's saying, oh my gosh, the country is now significantly better now that the United States has abandoned it. Now, this is my update for today. As I know more, I will definitely come on and share more with you. Before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. Make sure to check out Factor Food. The food really is delicious. I've tried it. My brother-in-law's been doing it for many, many months and has lost a significant amount of weight. And again, the food is absolutely delicious. Now, before you go, if you think I've earned it, please give this video a like. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out these important videos. There's a lot of places to get your news today, so I appreciate you stopping by, and I will see you on the next video.